I think it's pretty cut and dried. If you don't want to get involved full time, please put an operating partner in, and that could be a spouse, that could be a child, that could be another business partner. But if you don't have anybody full time with skin in the game, I don't know how you're going to get the results.
Welcome to the Zero to Profitable Franchise Podcast, the best place for you to come to figure out the right franchise to buy and how to get and stay profitable. My name is Tarek Johnson, and I've bought, grown, and sold multiple franchises and got myself free from corporate America, and now I'm on a mission to help you do that too. Here you'll find some of the most in-depth profitable franchise secrets, tangible strategies, and specific mindsets to help you create your dream life through franchising. I'm curious, what about the scenario where, because we have the extreme example when someone's saying, yeah, I just want to put a bunch of money in and basically have the business run itself. But then you have more of the middle situation, and then you have the other extreme, actually, which is someone going, yep, I'm going to go all in, I'm 100%, let's go for it. Then you have like the middle, where you have those folks that are like, hey, look, I need to keep my job. I am willing to work hard, but I can't go full time right away. Let's talk about the how-to on that. Now, not the how not to. How could someone make that scenario work? Lori, let's start with you.
Well, first of all, we'll have to find a franchise brand that allows that, right? Because there are brands that want the franchise owner to be involved from the very beginning. So, but there is a kind of a fine line with that as well, because it doesn't mean that they're the one actually removing the trees or hanging the tile, right? What that involvement means is that they're overseeing the business, that if they have the flexibility in their schedule, because at the end of the day, if they have a GM in place or a manager and it's day one and that manager doesn't show up to open the doors, there's got to be somebody there to do it. So the franchise owner has to have some flexibility in their schedule to do that. But I think that having that manager in place, but having the ability to oversee and still manage and run the business, whether that's meeting the crews, making sure they're going to where they need to be going in the morning, obviously watching the budget. That's a big part of it, is actually running the financials of your business, but also meeting with customers in some cases, right? Like following up with them, and might not have to be face to face, but checking in, see how the job was completed. Was it done to their satisfaction? Will they review the business? Because they're going to need to build their referral base too, right? So there are definitely ways for people to start being semi-absentee right from the beginning, but they're still going to have some involvement. It's just how you look at it and how that involvement is really defined for you.
Yeah. Mark, what are your thoughts?
So if you take the best brands in America, and they have 200 franchise owners, very successful brand. If you look in the FDD, the item 19, there's going to be the top 10% performers, right? They're going to be the ones that are operating at the highest level, highest sales. But in any list, there's the bottom performers, the bottom 10%, right? What makes somebody the top 10% versus the bottom 10%? In my opinion, because it's the same brand, the brand isn't prioritizing the top performers by giving them services and not the bottom. They're giving everybody the same toolbox. But in many cases, I think what happens is if you do it wrong, Laura just described it correctly, but if you do it wrong and you come in and you do it part-time or passively or semi-absentee, whatever term you want, you're just never going to see the results, right? You're always going to be that bottom performer. And a good example of that is, let's make up a company. The ABC Painting Company is the brand I invest in. I go through all the training, and I'm ready to go start my business day one. And that Monday morning, when my business is going to get started, I'm at my job in my cubicle doing my IT work. How are you going to get there? So it just comes back that the right way to do these passive businesses is, if you're not going to do it yourself, it has to be an equity partner. And that equity partner, yes, you do manage that equity partner, but what makes them an equity partner is they are a partner. And you are really essentially saying, your job is running this business, not mine. Then it works, because this person comes in, they have skin in the game. It's exactly how we did it in our franchise. And in our case, what we did is we paid the salary and we gave them an opportunity to earn 0.5% of equity every year for the first 5 years. It tied him into the business. He wasn't going anywhere. And he ran that business essentially on the operations side for us. So I think it's pretty cut and dried. If you don't want to get involved full time, please put an operating partner in And that could be a spouse, that could be a child, that could be another business partner. But if you don't have anybody full time with skin in the game, I don't know how you're going to get the results. And that's when you start getting franchisees who are disappointed. And sometimes, again, as we know, human nature, people don't want to look in the mirror and say, I screwed up. So the brand didn't support me. They didn't do anything they promised. And that's when everything just starts fracturing. So that's what I think. I don't think it's really that complex. I think it's very simple. Why get involved and invest your life savings in a business if you're not going to put the effort behind it that it's going to be required? And again, what's unfortunate is once a franchise is purchased, once someone buys their territory, then they're wedded to that brand. And if they become an underperforming franchise owner, the brand really doesn't have much of a recourse. It just kind of brings the whole network down a notch.
And one thing I tell candidates too is full-time results get full-time effort, or full-time efforts get full-time results. Part-time efforts get part-time results. Another way to set the expectation.
Right? It's just relatively simple. And sometimes when you strip it down, you take the complexity out of it. And I actually kind of laugh when I say to a candidate, all right, let's go with that for a minute, Mr. and Mrs. Candidate. And I just give that same analogy. You're going to invest $350,000, your life savings in this business. You're going to take vacation time from work to go and get trained. You're going to do everything right. And then your business is going to start. You're going to go back and work full time. Mr. and Mrs. Candidate, who's going to run your business for you? And it's actually kind of funny sometimes. You just get these blank looks, like they have no answer. And but that's us doing our job, right? Because now they're like, I get it. Now I see. So I can't have it both ways. I'm like, well, you can, but here's how. So again, that's part of our job, is educating people. It doesn't make it wrong or bad that they come to us thinking one thing. It's just our shame on us if we hang up on that first meeting and they still feel that way. Then we've kind of failed them.
Hey, before we go, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please subscribe here on YouTube if you haven't already. And the biggest thank you that you could ever give me is to share this episode with someone who you think will benefit. That means that we can share this message with more people and hopefully positively inspire them like we have you. So thank you. And until next time, go build your empire.